Hello everyone, this is Chuck Blankenship with HEB Instructional Technology, and this is an overview of Google Drive. During the presentation today, you'll be getting a basic overview of the Drive environment. You'll be creating and sharing folders in Google Drive, creating and sharing files in Google Drive, and finally accessing shared with me content in your Google Drive environment. If you haven't done so already, you can log into Google Drive using your HEB district credentials. If you're not familiar with how to do that, there is a video in the same section as this one that explains that process. Once you are in the Google Drive environment, you'll see a screen that looks much like this one. And from the top to the bottom, let me just explain some of the basic concepts. Assuming that you've never been in Google Drive before, you'll see that you have a search option which will allow you to search for any files or folders that you have in the Google Drive environment. To the right of that, you'll see that you have the Google Apps or Google Waffle. When you click that, it allows you to switch between applications in the Google Suite. Just to the right of that, you'll see that you have your account icon. And if you are logged into your district account, you would see the option for G Suite listed right here. And if you click on that, you can see some of your individual account information. Going down the page, you'll see that you have the quick access section. This allows you to access files that you've worked on recently and also perhaps content that you've collaborated on recently or that has been shared with you recently. Underneath there, you'll see that you have a section labeled as folders. This would include any folders that you had created within your Google Drive account. And also in that section, you would find individual files that had not been assigned to folders. On the left-hand side, you'll see that you have the New button. Anytime that you're creating anything in your Google Drive account, it can all be done from this button. You just select New. You'll see that you have the ability to create folders. You can upload files. You can upload folders to your account. And you also have the ability to create individual Google file types, including docs, sheets, slides, and more. Okay. Just underneath there, you'll see that you have shared drives. Shared drives are basically exactly what they say they are. They're a shared folder or a shared account that can be shared with you as an individual for your campus, or if you're involved with some sort of district organization, you might have a shared drive that you use to access information for those purposes. Okay, and underneath there, you'll see that you have shared with me, recent, starred, and then also trash. Okay. So we're going to kind of touch on each one of those as we're moving along today. But just moving forward, the main things that you're going to need to be familiar with to complete your assignment that you'll have to create at the end of this training is just how to create and share a folder in Google Drive, and then how to access content in your Shared With Me section. So let's go ahead and get started. I've already created a folder. I'm just going to go ahead and go into that folder so I have a blank slate. This looks a little something like maybe what you guys are dealing with. You probably don't have as many folders as me, and that's okay. So the first thing I'm going to talk you guys through is how to create a folder and then how to share that folder. So over in the top left-hand corner, you'll see that you have the New button. And when you select New and you choose Folder, you'll see that a new window pops up open. It says New Folder and it's asking you to name the file. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just call this Shared Folder. All right. In terms of naming convention, you can call your folders anything that you want to, but just as a general rule of thumb, if it's a shared folder and you're sharing it with people, you might want to include the word share somewhere within that folder name, just so that later on you know it's being shared with people. There's another way to check for that, and I'll show you that in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Create. And so you can see I have my first folder that I've officially created. And again, I did that by going to New and choosing Folder. Okay. Once the folder's there, and if you want to share it, there's a couple different ways you could do this. You could do it through a right click and choose Share. Okay. And that's kind of my preferred method, but you guys are welcome to use this other method as well. From within the folder, if you actually double click the folder to open it up, right up here where it has the folder name, you can use the little drop down arrow here as well and choose that share option right there. When you do that, you'll see a new window opens up and it's just asking you it says share with people and groups. So if there's specific individuals you want to share this with, all you need to do is type their name right here in this line. So I'm going to go ahead and type one of my counterparts' names. I'm going to share this with Casey. As soon as I start typing her name, it will kind of automatically use prediction to try to find the account that you're looking for before, and it will just start to autocomplete based on that. So all you really have to do is start typing a person's name, and it should generate a list for you to choose from. I'm going to go ahead and select Casey. Okay, and just to the right over here, and this is kind of an important piece, depending on how you want to share a folder, you have the choice to choose between editor or viewer. Okay, if your intent is for people who have access to this folder to be able to edit the content within the folder, to make changes, to be able to delete content or modify files that you have in that folder, you can go ahead and leave it set to editor. But if it's really only your intent for people to be able to view content within that folder. So for example, if you were sharing this with your students and you only wanted them to be able to view what was inside the folder, you can switch that to viewer instead of editor. It defaults to editor, so depending on your purposes, you can make the appropriate choice. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave editor set in place. And you'll see there's a little checkbox right here that says notify people, and it will automatically allow you to type a message that will be mailed to people's email accounts that will let them know that you have shared this folder with them. So I'm just going to say, hey Casey, I just shared this with you. All right, at this point it would choose send, and it would automatically give shared access to Casey, and it would send an email to her account letting her know that I had shared this folder with her, and then she can click on that link from her account, or she can come into her Google Drive account to access the folder. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send that to Casey. Okay, and now when I go back to and by the way, let me just show this really quick. Earlier I told you that when you're using a naming convention for your folder, if you're sharing, you can go ahead and put that shared somewhere within the title of the folder. But you'll notice that as soon as I shared this folder, this little icon popped up on the screen. It looks like two heads, and that's an icon that basically indicates anytime you see that on a folder within the Google Drive environment, you'll know that that folder is being shared with somebody. Okay, so for instance, if I go back here, you'll see here's the folder that we just created. Directly on that folder, you'll see there's a little silhouette indicating to me as a user and as an owner that I'm sharing this folder with people. Okay, so that is sharing a folder. Once you've shared a folder, anything that you put into that folder is automatically going to be shared with people. So if your intent is to share multiple files with somebody, rather than sharing each and individual file with somebody, better practice would be to create that shared folder, share the folder with that person, and then drag any files you want to share with them into that folder. Okay. However, on occasion, there may be times where you don't plan on sharing multiple files with an individual. Maybe you're just going to share one file with somebody that you're collaborating with. The way that you would do that, it's a very, very similar process, but rather than setting it up on a folder level, you're going to set it up on a file level. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new doc, and I'm just going to come in and give it a generic name. Just say shared collaborative document. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click over here and change my title. Okay, so now I'm currently sitting in this Google Doc environment, and I want to create a shared or collaborative document with one of my colleagues. I'm going to go ahead and choose the share button over here in the top right hand corner. Again, you'll see a very similar window that you saw when we were sharing the folder, and this time I'm going to type in Casey's name again. Same process. You'll see I have the checkbox that I can use to notify Casey that I'm sharing this with her. I could type a message to her and say, hey, here's our shared notes for the meeting. Okay, and I can go ahead and choose send if I wanted to. For this example, I'm just going to show you that you have the option of not notifying people. If they just know, like let's say you're sitting in a meeting together and you're creating shared notes for collaborative purposes, and they know that you're doing that, you don't have to send an email to them. You can remove that check mark and choose share, and this document is automatically being shared with Casey. Okay, so when I exit out of here again, just going to refresh my view. You'll see here's that file that I shared with Casey. Okay, I could have also accomplished what I did just with a right click again. If I right click on any one of these files, if I right click in the folder, you'll see that I have the share option right there. If I right click on the file, you'll see that I have the share option as well. Okay, so I can click to open that. Let's say that I had accidentally shared this file with Casey and had given her editing rights when I meant for her to only be a viewer. You can right click on here, go to share. Right where it has Casey's name listed, I can click this drop down and I can give her viewer access so that she can no longer edit the file, but she can view the file. I'm going to go ahead and choose save, and those changes have been made. Okay, so that wasn't that difficult. You now know how to create a shared folder, and you also know how to create a shared file. Oftentimes you will be the person who is creating files and sharing them with you, but there will be many occasions where somebody else has created a file and shared that file with you for you to access. So really kind of popular question we get in the district is a lot of times content is shared with you and you don't necessarily know how to access that content. You'll notice over here on the left hand side you have the option for shared with me. Okay, so if you are not the owner and you have not created the file, somebody else has created and shared it with you, you would find all of those files under the shared with me section of your Google Drive account. So when I select shared with me, you'll see there are many files in my account that have been shared with me. At some point in some time, people have shared all of these folders and resources with me during my time that I was in the district. So as I scroll down, you'll see there's lots of files here that have been shared with me. So you'll be able to access those files pretty readily. What you will find in time is as you spend more and more time in the district is it can get pretty messy. When you go into share with me, you'll see that there's lots and lots of files here, and it's not real obvious on a top level just how to identify those quickly, who has shared those with you. So if you're looking for something that was shared with you from a specific person, you have a couple of options. Okay, over here in the top right hand corner, just underneath your G Suite icon, you'll see that there's a little tiny button. When I'm mousing over it right now, it lets me switch to list view. Okay, so if I switch to list view, you'll see it changes the display on my screen. Okay, shows me the individual files that are being shared with me, and it shows who they were shared by. Okay, and if you prefer, you can switch back to grid view, but you'll see that it no longer lists the owner of that file. Okay, so one thing you can do to find a file that's being shared with you, if you're looking for a file that was shared with you by a specific person, is you could switch to list view. Okay, so you'll see here's a file that was shared with me by Stacy. Here's one that was shared with me by Marcy and one by Kelly. So if I know it's coming from one of those individuals, I can quickly locate them that way. Okay. In my opinion, the better way is to use the search feature in the Google Drive environment. So you'll see right up here I'm in the shared with me section of my account. If I go up to search in Drive, I can type in the title of the document. If I know what the title is, I can go ahead and type that in. I also have the ability to search for the document by document type. If you select any one of these, like presentation, spreadsheet, document, sites, etc., it will allow you to filter all of the files for that specific file type. So if I know that I'm looking for presentation that was shared with me, I can choose this option for presentations, and you'll see that I will only see presentations that have been shared with me. Okay, if you want to go a step further, you could choose advanced search. Okay, and you'll see it allows you again to choose a file type. So I know I'm looking for a presentation, and I am looking for one that is owned by Stacy that she shared with me. So right here where it says owner, I'm going to click the drop down. I'm going to say specific person, and I'm going to say it came from Stacy Birch. Okay, so when I click search again, you'll see now I'm only seeing presentations that were shared with me by Stacy. I can quickly find that one individual file that I'm looking for, and I can access it. Okay, so just as a shortcut, if you're going to be doing this often and you're going to be going to that specific file that has been shared with you again and again and again, rather than searching for it each and every time, I did want to show you a quick shortcut that you can use to simplify your life. Once you've found that file under the shared with me section of your account, you can right click on the file, and you will see that there's an option for add shortcut to Drive. Okay, and so what that's going to basically do is make a shortcut from your personal drive directly to this file that has been shared with you. Okay, so I'm going to do add shortcut to Drive, and you'll see here's my drive, Okay, and what you can do is you can go anywhere within your drive. You can go to a folder, maybe one that you've designated for shared files or maybe for a project, and you can create a shortcut within that folder directly to that file in your shared with me environment. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just create it in my Google Drive folder, add shortcut. Okay, and when I come back over to my drive, you will see a shortcut pointing directly to that file that was in the shared with me environment. So anytime I need to get back to that going in the future, I can just go to my drive, go into that folder, and find that shortcut directly to that document that was in the shared with me environment. Okay, so basically for what you'll be doing today for your assignment, those are the only pieces that you're going to need to know. Okay, certainly Google Drive is capable of doing a lot more than I'm sharing with you in this short video, but there will be more training to come in the future. For now, these are really the only pieces you need to know. So again, today we covered a basic overview of Drive. We discussed how to create and share a folder in Drive. We discussed how to create and share a file in Drive. And then we also discussed how to access shared with me content in your Google Drive environment. If you have any questions, please contact your instructional technology specialist and we will be glad to help you. Have a great day.